Have you ever thought about going on a massive trip to a different country, coming back, and feeling like bleh because you're mad jet lagged? That's me. That's me today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime. This is going to be the month of May. I'm going to be talking mostly about anime stuff, as you can see by the first what do they call it, shorts that I put out on Wednesday, and even the Wednesday before. But yeah, so most of the videos will be focused on that. I will have one manga video coming out towards the end of the month, like I always do. I'm going to be doing your good old-fashioned FBI, so look forward to that. But as for now, I'm going to have some anime content, stuff that I don't normally do. My camera does not like that my hands are constantly moving and the lighting is all weird and stuff, so I'm going to slow down a bit. But if you couldn't tell by the title of this video, this is going to be a big one. This is going to be a long one. I'm going to be ranking every single Studio Ghibli film that I have watched, which is at a good old-fashioned 16. I have not seen all of them, so if you're wondering where some of those are on the list, it's because I haven't watched them, or I haven't watched them all the way through, so I don't feel like I can give a good enough opinion on it that I would be able to rank it. So let's get started right now. Also, if you're wondering why I don't have, or like why my mic sounds different, it's because I'm using actually my camera's mic because, circumstances have prevented me from being able to use my mic for this specific video. Maybe if this video is done in two parts or recorded in two parts, which you'll probably be able to tell by the lighting, then you'll hear my voice probably be different. But for now, I'm going to be using my camera's mic in the stead? I don't know, but whatever. All right, we're going to start off real quick. So I'm going to go through the first 6. So I'm going to be starting from bottom to top. So I'm going to be kind of going through those pretty fast because I don't have either good enough opinions on them, or I don't really like them, so I don't like to be negative on this channel too much. But yeah, let's get right started. And this one's probably gonna be the most controversial pick. But number 16 goes to My Neighbor Totoro. So goes without saying that this is my least favorite. I watched it really recently, actually. I think last year or 2 years ago for the first time ever, and I don't know, it's one of those very few films where I knew exactly where it was going to go, and also like the main character, or the titular character barely shows up in the movie, which is really confusing. I don't know, I guess I was expecting a lot, because a lot of people say this is one of their favorites, a lot of people really like it, but I just found like it was missing a lot of things that I think other films in the Ghibli library are just do better, or are much better at in general. I don't know. I would argue this is probably my most controversial pick, but you have to understand, I just found it to be really, really boring, and I would much rather be watching another one of the films instead. Coming up at number 15, My Neighbors, The Yamadas. This one's pretty straightforward. This was more of like a like 3 short movies kind of put together into one, so it's not, I don't know, it's hard to argue that it's like a movie, if that makes sense, but it's still fun, it's entertaining, it's like not my favorite, but it's enjoyable, it's okay. Coming up after that, we have number 14, and that's Tale of the Princess Kaguya. So, Tale of Princess Kaguya is like such a beautiful film. The art style is very different from most other Ghibli films, but that's because the director is different. It's not Miyazaki. I don't remember exactly who it is. But and it definitely has some really beautiful moments, especially towards the beginning of the film. I think it has a really good momentum going into the last act. However, I think Kaguya is one of those films that is ruined by the ending. I really did not like the ending. I'm not going to spoil it for people who have not seen it, but it really completely ruined the film for me. It really derailed it and made it a lot less of an enjoyable watch in general. It felt like a lot of the things that happened in the movie felt pointless at the end because of this ending. You feel free to disagree with me. That's just how I felt while I was watching it. So yeah, that goes number 14, Tale of the Princess Kaguya. Number 13 is Porco Rosso. Porco Rosso is the last of the Ghibli films I feel like I don't have the best opinion on, or I will tend to have more negative opinions on. So, Porco Rosso is a very fun watch. It's very enjoyable. It has some fantastic animation, especially with all the planes. And Porco, the main character, is actually really cool. I do enjoy him quite a bit. My biggest critique of the film is the weird, I don't know how to explain it, but like a lot of the characters have this weird like kind of like sexual reaction toward this underage girl, which I'm never a big fan of in any kind of series for the most part. like, or not for the most part, just in general, no. It's just that's something that is usually a turn off for me in terms of like enjoying a film. If there's like a younger character and like an older adult hits on them or tries to be like, oh look, it's a girl, let's kiss her or whatever. Like, I don't know, that's just weird for me. Unless you're doing some kind of historical thing and that was common back then. That one is, you know, still, I'm not probably going to put myself in the way of that, but this is a fictional film, so this one, it just felt very out of place, and I just did not care for it. It was, it was one of those things that was just like, man, I really wish this film didn't have that, because if it didn't, I'd probably put Porco Rosso actually a lot higher, but because of that, it's ranking a little bit lower. So yeah, number 13, Porco Rosso. Coming into number 12, this is the last one I have anything written for, so it's going to be a good old-fashioned manga dude video where I just kind of wing it. So number 12, though, is The Cat Returns. I actually really do enjoy The Cat Returns. I think this movie is really cool. It's a good spiritual successor, kind of, to The Whisper of the Heart, where one of the characters, or one of the things, the Baron, is introduced in Whisper of the Heart as like a toy, but actually becomes like an actual main character within The Cat Returns. But The Cat Returns is really fun. If you have never watched it before, basically it's about this girl who saves a cat from getting hit by a car, unintentionally basically bringing her into a cat kingdom where she is now going to become the queen of said kingdom. So it's about her exploring this weird fantasy world and her trying to get back to real life. So yeah, overall, it's pretty fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Is it like amazing? Not really, but I would say it's definitely worth a watch. So it's a lot of fun. Okay. Coming into number 11, so this is right before the top 10. Number 11 goes to Secret World of Arrietty. If you've never seen Secret World of Arrietty, you really should. It is such an absolutely gorgeous film. The details, the really small details, and not to, I guess that is kind of a pun because it's like basically about like these little people who live in the house of this like rich family. And yeah, it's just a really beautiful film. I think it's extremely underrated, especially within the catalog. And yeah, I know I'm ranking it kind of low, but that's just because I like the other 10 a little bit more. But yeah, Secret World of Arrietty, it's a very good film. You should definitely go check it out. It's a really fun time. Alright, let's get into it. We're in the top 10. This is going to be the second controversial opinion on here. My number 10 Ghibli film is Spirited Away. So, okay, there's a lot I can say about Spirited Away and also a lot I can't say about Spirited Away. One, I haven't seen Spirited Away in a long time. The last time I watched it, I think I was probably like 8 or 9, when it used to play on Cartoon Network. Now, looking back on it now, I think this movie is very overrated. I can see why people really like it, but also, I just don't enjoy it as much as everyone else. I think the story is fine, I think the characters are really cool, I love, you know, the art's always going to be fantastic, and it has beautiful art as always, but yeah, I don't remember a lot about the film itself, other than the pig stuff, and the main character, I think her name is Chihiro. I think I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I thought this movie was fine, and I know that would probably bother a lot of people. But please remember, this is just my opinion. I'm saying favorite. I'm not saying the best. You know, probably people would rate this a lot higher, and that is totally okay. I appreciate you for voicing your opinion. But yeah, don't hate me for putting this at number 10. Coming up next, I have Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which some people would argue is not even a Ghibli film, but according to this beautiful box here, this says a Studio Ghibli film. Yeah, so Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind is the first technical film that was made by the people who would eventually form Studio Ghibli. So technically, yes, this is not Studio Ghibli's first film, but a lot of people who ended up joining Studio Ghibli in terms of animators, in terms of background artists, in terms of director, Mr. Hayao Miyazaki himself, this is his first, or second technically, because Castle of Cagliostro, but we don't count Castle of Cagliostro, but that movie's fantastic. Yeah, Nausicaa is really great. I think the art is fantastic. I think this one has shown the most age out of every Ghibli film that has released, but that's not a bad thing. I think the art style that they go with, the limited animation that they use for the little beetle things is really cool. I think that the anti-war kind of thing that they're theme that they're using is a very common trope / theme that they use throughout almost the entire almost out of just about every Ghibli film, or at least every Miyazaki film that he directs has like this anti-war theme to it. So overall, this one's fantastic. It's got really beautiful imagery, and I really love like the little flying thing that they use. Overall, great film. Definitely go check it out. I believe this is one that most people have not seen, so you really should. It's really fantastic. Alright, coming up next, from Up on Poppy Hill. So, this is not by Miyazaki. This is written by him, but it's directed by his son, which, if you know anything about Goro Miyazaki, he has a track record for being very disappointing to his dad, which is really screwed up, but that's a complete different story. A story for a different time. But I do think that this movie is fantastic. This movie is absolutely awesome, and we learn really quickly. This has one of the biggest plot twists of all time, I would argue, where you're just like, incest is not wincest. Remember, that is very important. Keep that in track. Keep that in mind. But it's a very beautiful film. I really love the relationship between the two main characters, and yeah, I think it ends really well too. So I love it. I think boats are really cool, just like a pointless random fact, and I think a lot of the boats and ships that are drawn and painted in this specific movie just look absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, overall, really good film. Go give it a shot. Alright, number 7 goes to The Wind Rises, and this is my very bizarre box. I believe this is supposed to be like a I don't know how this one was produced, but I bought this from Tokyo Japanese Lifestyle a long time ago. Don't know if this is necessarily a legal release, but it is definitely a release. But this was supposed to be Hayao Miyazaki's last directorial film, which it's not, as we know. But this movie is really good and extremely underrated as well. I think it got a lot of flack in Japan because of its anti-war themes, especially focusing around the Japanese and how they created planes, stuff like that for war, and how the main character is very much against it. He's like a aspiring and very, very good architect slash designer for planes, and he wants to use planes in order to like spread love around the world, or like to be able to enjoy the idea of flying. But then he comes to find out that his things are being used for war, and he like totally tears it up inside. And then his love, who's his painter, is having her own struggles as well. It's just a very beautiful film. It's done really well. I love the characters, I love the story, and I love where it ends as well. The beautiful imagery that's used as well, in terms of like that kind of like the dreamscapes that they use, are also absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I could say a lot about this film, and it's very beautiful. But I gotta keep going because this is only number 7, and I'm gonna have a lot more to talk about as we keep going. But yeah, Wind Rises, definitely go give it a shot. Okay, up next we have ourselves Whisper of the Heart. This is number 6. This is such an awesome, beautiful film. It has a fantastic rendition of Take Me Home Country Roads done in Japanese. It is so beautiful. This one has like some of my favorite characters, some of my favorite music as well. I tend to remember actually a lot of the music that's used in this movie. And yeah, overall, another fantastic one. I don't remember who the director of this one is, but yeah, this movie is absolutely awesome. If you want a slice of life one that does it really well, where you have a lot of very lovable main characters, and it's just a lot of lovable just side characters as well. And overall, it's just really well done. Totally your classic Ghibli style in terms of art, and overall, yeah, go give it a shot. It's very enjoyable. It's very beautiful, lovely film. And we are coming into the top 5, and number 5 is a doozy. That is The Grave of the Fireflies. This one hits close to home. Not really, but kind of. It hits close to home in terms of the emotional aspects. I think this movie, you tend to have a more significant feeling towards it if you have a not significant other, but a sibling, whether you're the older or the younger sibling. For me, I am the younger sibling of 2, so this movie could have basically happened if we had lived during war times in Japan. So yeah, it has a very strong emotional toll. It is extremely gruesome. It's very sobering and very much like, yeah, it really just shows you the horrors of war for what it is, but still done in such a beautiful and intricate way. Oh man, I'm getting a little choked up. But yeah, this movie is just it's a lot to watch, and I would argue that if you're not into war films, I would say definitely keep away from this one. There's a lot of very gruesome imagery. You definitely see some really screwed up stuff throughout the entire movie, but it's definitely things that happen within war. I think this is one of Isao Takahata's best films, because yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else I can say about it without spoiling it, but yeah, definitely give it a shot. It's if you're ready for a war film that is going to be very, very, very realistic, especially for an animated film. This is, yeah, it's really beautiful. Alrighty, number 4. This is one of my friends' favorites, and I can see why. This is Princess Mononoke. Number 4. Wow. This movie is so flippin' cool. I've seen it 3 times now. I saw it for the first time probably like 4 or 5 years ago, and I thought it was fantastic. It was amazing. The anti-war stuff once again comes through. We get a lot of really awesome action scenes across the board. There's a lot of beautiful animation, especially with like the weird little worm thing. Is absolutely crazy just to think about someone had to draw that. Overall, this one is really, really good, and the only reason why I have it lower is because I like the other 3 just a little bit more, but I would argue this is Studio Ghibli's best film, because, yeah, it has that perfect mix of action and romance and, like, drama, and this, like, it mixes everything done well from Ghibli standards, and it's done like 10 out of 10 for every part of it. This movie is really, really awesome. It has some beautiful art as always. Definitely give it a shot. It is probably their best film. Okay, coming into number 3, this is my fiance's favorite film, or favorite Ghibli film, that is, and that is Castle in the Sky. This is technically Ghibli's first film, and yeah, it is remarkable, and no one has watched it. Or at least most people that I hear who have watched a couple of Ghibli films here and there have totally overlooked this one, and it's a real shame because this movie is really lovely. I've seen it 3 times now, and probably going to watch it a 4th time some point soon. But I think this movie is beautiful. It has some absolutely gorgeous art. Really, really fun characters. The side characters, the anti-heroes, the villain, and then all the robot designs as well. And like, yeah, it's just overall there's a lot of really great shots. A lot of really great animation that goes along with this one as well, especially with the train scene and the castle. Obviously, the castle in the sky scenes are all really, really cool. Overall, very lovely film. Arguably, I would say this is one of the top Ghibli films also. And yeah, really, really good. Definitely give it a shot. Alright, number 2. This is a special one for me. I've seen this one so many times, and I can watch it so many other times. And that is Kiki's Delivery Service. So it's so hard to say how much I love this film, and not just from like a film standpoint, but also just from like a personal standpoint. This was one of the first Ghibli films that I ever watched. Once again, saw it when it was on Cartoon Network way back in the day, and it has such a beautiful message, such beautiful art. I think it really hits home for people who are creatives or people who feel burnt out, feel like they have to hold up a legacy, hold it together for everyone else. And yeah, it's just, it tackles so many themes in such a well done manner, where everything just feels like it has been resolved by the end of the film. And yeah, overall, this one is really, really amazing. I love the music. I love the characters. I think Kiki is so lovable and so complex as well. I feel like her character has a lot of facets to her that are really, really unique to her and her only. And it's really lovely to see her grow throughout the entire film, to go from this confident girl who's like curious and learning about the world to, like, you know, a very low point in her life, and as she proceeds to get out of that, I don't know, it's great. And Tombo's awesome. So, and also in terms of personal standpoint, my fiance and I actually did a Halloween costume duo. We did Tombo and Kiki, and yeah, so that also is just like another reason why. So yeah, of course, here's a bias here and there, but man, it's so hard to hate Kiki's Delivery Service. This movie is so good. It's beautiful. It's so lovely. I can watch it over and over and over and over again and still enjoy it like I had just watched it for the first time. So yeah, that's number 2. All right, coming into number 1. This one I think needs no introduction, but I will introduce it anyways. That is Howl's Moving Castle. I can watch this movie dubbed and subbed, and I will love it regardless. I know a lot of people tend to find this movie to be kind of boring. One of my really good friends really does not like this movie, and I can understand why, but also yeah, I find this to be my favorite Studio Ghibli film, my favorite Miyazaki film. I don't know, there's something about it that just really hooks me from the beginning, keeps me invested throughout the entire film. I think the background designs are some of the best that Ghibli's ever produced. I think, like, Howl's room and the castle itself and all of, like, the flowers and, like, the firework part. There are so many really beautiful background landscapes and animation that is done in this film that really just kind of leave me in awe of just how awesome and how amazing artists are. Coming from an artist myself, like, it's just really, really beautiful and lovely and amazing to see all this just come together. It's such a wonderful film. It's so whimsical. Really just keeps me just like in a really great mood. Overall, I love this so much. I love the main characters. I think Howl is a really great character himself. And I think the villains as well, once again, with the more of the anti-war themes that we're getting through. Yeah, Howl's Moving Castle, this is by far my favorite. And I would say it's close because I think Kikis is pretty close to the top spot. But I cannot, in any circumstance, put Howl's Moving Castle any lower than number 1. I love this movie so much. It's so beautiful. And I could talk about it for ages and ages and ages. And maybe I will in a future anime video. But not for this month. Maybe next month, or maybe next April or May, whatever. I don't even know. I'm tripping over my words. This movie is so good. It's got me all screwed up. Anyways, that's gonna be my tier list of every single Ghibli film that I have watched. I guess I do have more Ghibli films to watch, and I probably will. So maybe this video will be updated at some point in the future. But as of right now, as it stands, Howl's Moving Castle is my number 1. I hope you really enjoyed watching this video. It was a fun one to film, actually, because like I don't talk about film a lot in general in video form. I don't think I ever have, really, but I do really actually enjoy watching films and talking about films, so I really hope you saw that passion for it. Obviously, I'm not describing them in the best way possible, but that's because I'm not really doing like a review. I'm doing more of like a tier list, so I really hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what you think of my tier list, and where would you rank your top 5 Ghibli films? List them down in the list down there below in the comments. I love reading your comments, by the way. I try to comment on as many as possible that I can comment, if that makes sense. So thank you guys for your patience, and yeah, y'all have been amazing. I reached 1,000 subscribers, which is so flippin' cool. Thank you guys so much. Oh, I forgot to do that at the beginning of the video. Whatever. I'm not gonna go back and do it. But honestly, you guys have been so amazing. 1,000 subscribers. I really didn't think I'd ever hit that. So kind of blown away by that. It's awesome. It's so awesome. So thank you guys so much for your support. You know what to do. You can like, you can comment, you can subscribe. Those are all really fantastic things. And I really do appreciate it when you do those things. And if you decide not to, thank you for watching this entire video, or skipping to this part, because I don't know why you do that. But yeah, that's going to be it for the first video of anime, or the first full video of anime. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.